Now we are.
Nightmare.
Shit. Cool. All right. Let's make some magic.
You're the fourth clap.
Yeah! All right. We're rocking and rolling.
Let's do it.
All right. So, the man sitting in front of me needs no introduction.
You guys have all seen everything.
Yeah. So we're just going to jump right into it. No, this is TJ from 8well. Your local gym based here in Huntington, New York. Mm-hmm. So just tell me a little bit about 8well and how you guys got started.
Yeah, so 8well is more of a strength training gym, right? More small scale, kind of boutique style, but very focused on more small like group training, right? So we have personal training one-on-one. That's where I started, and my partner Tyler started as well. But we took that and tried to figure out a way to influence more people, volumize training, give it a better price point, and kind of get away from the typical bigger scale group training models nowadays, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of hype built around a lot of other big scale gyms and the corporate group training styles and stuff like that, right? But we wanted to take an approach that was much more not privatized, but more like intimate and quality, and we could dissect an individual more while we're in a group setting, and really develop somebody kind of from that standpoint.
So it's almost like you still get that one-on-one feel, but with a lesser. So what does a corporate gym have? Would it be, 40 people at a time versus a private 8well style?
Yeah. So our focus is strength training. The closest thing to that, there are probably some other small group strength training gyms around. Could be more semi-private style where each person's working on their own program, but they're in a group of 6-8 people, whatever, right? But then you have the bigger scale, like you're saying, which is depending, like Orange Theory is more HIIT based, lots of cardio, some weights they call it, strength portions, but they're not going really heavy. They're not focusing on compound strength development, movement patterns, postural positions and stuff like that alongside the strength training, right? And those can be, I heard someone talk about how they can be upwards of the size, what the size of the facility permits with one coach on the floor, regardless. Yep. So one coach can actually run a pretty good amount of money and pull and make a great living depending on the size of the facility that they're in. So that's kind of what they're after, right? It's churn and kind of burn, and how many people can we max out? There could be, I think, 45, 50 people in some locations, maybe more at some locations, and they're just pop, right?
From my little knowledge, it seems like it's pretty fad-based.
Yes.
There's those fad types of spin classes and all those different things that people do every once in a while.
Yeah.
But those are kind of just
yeah,
you can't do those every day.
Yeah, some people love it and they are addicts with that, right? It's it's like the runners, right? Runners can be such like a niche of people that are they just run.
Yeah, they're their own breed.
All they do is run.
Yeah,
right. Like CrossFitters, that's probably more similar. Like if you were to go into some heavier weights, compounds are being done, right? But that's very, very large group, right? Can be up to 30 people with some very, very impactful movements, lots of stress on a lot of movements. It's kind of like, how can you just really, really get a ton of work in that 45 minutes or an hour and feel like you got the crap beat out of you, and you go home and you feel like you sweat a ton, right? You got the work in. And their programs are tapered and stuff, but they're going into really kind of higher risk movements, right? Bigger overhead, barbell work, snatches, cleans, compounds, then doing tons of running with jumping and impact all the time. So we kind of were how can we downscale? Not so much that, right? We're not competing with that necessarily, but just to say, how can we show people that strength training, real strength training from a power standpoint and a raw strength standpoint and hypertrophy, bodybuilding style, all combined, can be healthy, right? And should be healthy and should be the way to train. How can we affect more people with not too much so we don't feel like they're overwhelmed when they walk in? And we're not having someone just jump in the corner for an hour and they're never getting touched during a whole session, right? We're always hands on, eyes on. So yeah, it's as close as you can get to kind of a personalized training in a group setting without having everyone on their own individualized programs. They're all doing the same thing, right? But it's phased out. There's certain kind of styles and things that we kind of put into play within the program and the phasing of it and everything like that.
So when you say phasing and things are phased out, what does that mean?
Yeah, so things are phased out, right? Our Mondays and Wednesdays more so it means, right, it holds more kind of ground for those days because they're more compound days. You're going to do a bigger deadlift, a bigger squat, bench press, stuff like that are more power, right? In the powerlifting community, you kind of use phasing, or any program, really any program. I'm just talking about like strength phasing. We're trying to build someone up, or we're trying to give them that ability to adapt their body, get used to a movement, progressive movement, do some accessories that help that movement, right? Develop either their position, make them stronger, right? Grow a muscle, get stronger in total. So the phase that we do, right, is every 3 weeks we have the same program, right? So the program churns after every 3 weeks. So we have, right, certain amount of volume and intensity on each day, right? Every day that you come in, if you come on every Tuesday, you're doing the same program for 3 weeks in a row every Tuesday, right? And then that's the whole day too, right? All the classes in that one day are the same.
Okay.
And then every Tuesday, boop, 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 you build up, and then it flips, right? After 3 weeks, that fourth week is going to be a new program, and it's new exercises and stuff for that phase. The Mondays and Wednesdays stick to more of the core exercises. So they build off of Mondays is upper push, lower pull. So it's going to be a deadlift. It's going to be a bench press dominant day, more glute ham day, more hinge work for the hips, right? And more upper push. So it's going to be like that's a bench press, like dumbbell bench press, incline, overhead press, push up, stuff like that. That's going to be focused. And then Wednesday is the opposite of that. We're going to have a barbell back squat, probably might be a little front squat in there, more lunges, more quad dominant stuff, lower push, and then upper pull, like back stuff, pull ups, chin ups, rows, things like that, right? So those are more phased out on opposite. Right, you might have a heavy deadlift for one phase, 3 sets of 3, with high volume after that and an accessory movement, and then the next phase we might go a little bit higher on volume or put a tempo on the lift and slow the rep down and kind of just change up the response and the kind of the
purpose
stimulus.
of that is keep the body guessing, just
So
change things up.
The purpose of that, is for 3 weeks, right? They get used to and adapt. Typically programs run on 4 weeks, but we're doing it for 3 just so, right, we kind of keep it moving a little bit for the clients that aren't really just like there to work into a phase and really be technical about it, right? Because we're not training power lifters that are going after it, or athletes that are going after something with a goal, right, in mind. These people just want to feel good, lift good, get strong, and also they're able to do these movements, right? You should. But it's so that we can develop them, right? They get used to the movements, and switching volume and intensity, right, and load on the body allows them to stay healthy and kind of experience some different things, right? Lift different rep ranges, push themselves differently, right? A deadlift might be really, really heavy one day where you create a lot of tension and you're good. Another one, we might have sets of 10 on deadlift where you're actually getting a cardio response from the deadlift as well, right? So it's, right, but we're always trying to...
Is it different because you're like approaching overall wellness through the training that you're doing? So I know that's the brand. The brand is 8 Well. It's the 8 dimensions of wellness.
Let's go through like the philosophy at the beginning.
Name them all.
So behind the brand, right, we started it and we named it 8 Well because there are 8 dimensions in life, right? If you guys go through some content that we've posted and put up, kind of what we talk about, right, are these pockets of wellness in life, right? We are obviously more of the physical realm of that and the mental, emotional realm, because once you, right, start attacking the body, it can lead to translations in the mind, right? You're going to have some type of mental and physical challenge when you do anything physically, right? Playing a sport, working out, right? Obviously, we're trainers. People say, oh, we're build muscle, whatever the hell, right? Your body is the physicality of it. But that's like way less than half of it probably, right? The mentality is huge, right? You don't have to lose weight. You don't have to get stronger. It's how do you push it and change your mind, challenge yourself every day. Start to drive into more of the psyche of it all, right? So we kind of took that approach with 8 Well, and it gives us the ability to grow into more of a wellness-based company, but affecting the physicality first, right? In the gym, in the brick and mortar, maybe branching that more online, affecting more people, right? But the goal is to kind of spread the message of overall wellness, right? We're in there, obviously, whenever you're sitting down and or not sitting down, when you're training with somebody, right, talking about that, you're going to dig deeper. Right. Once you get the body moving, the body sweating, they're a little bit more vulnerable. They're talking more. They're opening up. They're feeling more comfortable, right? They're more stressed, or they have to push really hard, or you got to push them, right? The mentality's coming into play. And then you start talking about things in and out of their life, right? And they start to really, really, they might transform their outside life, outside the gym a lot just because of what they've done in the gym, right? So everything affects everything else in life, right? Like we preach on all the facets of wellness, right? Your financial, part of wellness, your societal, right? How well are you socializing, going out? What's your confidence outside, right? You go home to your family life. Is it stressful? Are you getting a divorce? Do you have, right? All these different things, right? All the things could play off each other, right? So that's kind of the goal, is to spread awareness, build our content and some of our media off of that as well, as we just naturally, right, talk to our clients that are in the gym, not so much that we're like, hey, how's your money doing, right? We're not doing that. We're back squatting, right? It's like we're just talking, but we're just having conversation, right? But how do we start to potentially add value to these people's lives, right? To eventually build out, could be some type of consultation company based off of what we're doing, to work with other professionals and kind of, right, cross-brand with other people, and things like that. You know, that's really our goal, is kind of, nothing's solidified yet, right? We just came out of year one, but there's a lot of thoughts and questions and things that we have that are just ideas that will start to come about, I'm sure. But
yeah,
it's just forming the basis for that, you know.
Well, I think just putting it out there, like, that's the intention with the brand.
Yep.
It will come. You know, like when you start a business, when your dad started Saltwater and was like, we're gonna sell T-shirts now,
right?
Like, but he said, but we don't want to just be the company that sells T-shirts at a kiosk in the mall.
Yes.
Right. Screen printed T-shirts. Like, that's not our goal. When you put that intention out there, you'll find those people, you'll find those resources, and people think about you a little bit differently. 100%. If I go out there and pitch myself as a videographer, I get a very different response than someone that's helping people build their brands.
Yeah.
It's a completely different feeling.
100%.
100%.
So if you're putting out there, our intention is to help you with all the facets of your wellness. Yeah. The way we're starting is, let's get you moving, because we know it's going to affect everything else.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, I think what's really cool is, like, your philosophy is way different than some of the other people I see out there, because it's you care more about the person, less about everything else that goes along with it. It's like you want to take this person not just from feeling good, looking good, but also the mentality part of it. I think it's a huge part of it that's not talked about enough.
100%. And I think it starts with me as an individual and who the people are, right, all around us that are individuals and other companies that we work with. And right, I always would, Tyler and I, right, kind of got on this, my partner at 8well, right, got on this whole track and wanted to open this together, because we saw that like-mindedness with our approach to life, right? Like, I'm listening to real estate podcasts and financial podcasts, investing, psychological podcasts. How can I better, right, do something so specific with my sleeping pattern, or, right, caffeine, or my diet, or right, any little thing that has to do with helping, trying to pick up some type of something every day, just consuming the right content for myself, right, just starts to connect all these things, and you build yourself as a person, right, and your knowledge, and then it ends up always coming up in conversation, right? Oh, wow, someone's buying a house. Oh, someone's investing in a property. Cool. Oh, I actually watched this cool guy on Instagram, and I learned these 3 things, and I'd love to do that one day. I own a gym, and I'm a trainer at base, right, and I'm helping people that way. But those conversations come up because you're in a social business.
Sure.
Right. So it's always good to have just more little tips, tricks, and kind of things to your knowledge in your arsenal to talk to people about.
Yeah, enough to speak to people.
Yeah,
about
exactly.
It.
So that's kind of the way I've always looked at it for myself, is how can I be an asset to people, or to just me being me as a brand, right? It's an asset, it's a brand. Just like you said, you're not just down one lane, right, with a videographer,
right,
or
just
a shirt,
yeah,
right? What are you? What are you? You know? What are you, Steve? You tell me now.
I don't know.
So I think what's cool is, like, the open-mindedness to be more than just the trainer at a gym. It's that, I think, will take you and propel you further than you can ever expect. Like, if you were just set up in this closed mindset, I want to build this space at this gym, but no, the fact that you're open to learning different ideas, it's not just, TJ and Tyler's way at 8well, the philosophy there. It's also, what can I pull from this over here to add to that philosophy and build a more well-rounded individual?
That's the philosophy you're building, is to be fluid and to be continually learning and adding more information to your base. Yeah. So, what are you listening to now? What are the things that you're consuming? You brought up, like, the right information. What, just personally for you? So I'm always curious.
Consumption for myself has probably taken a little bit of a dip in the last year, just because of 12 to 13 hours a day of doing everything for 8well.
As it should.
Once I get quick tidbits, right, I'm looking at some little maybe mental tidbits to pick up on, certain things to just keep my mindset going. listened to a handful of things over the years.
Who are some people or maybe some podcasts that you enjoy?
So, health specifically,
Could be anything.
I've listened to Muscle Intelligence podcast with Ben Pakulski. Okay. That's a cool one. That's really in depth for the health nut, talking about like how to periodize and phase a back squat, and something he might give tidbits, or he might talk about the ins and outs of growing your fitness business, right? Bunch of things. Earn Your Leisure has been a huge one. If you guys ever heard of those guys, that's a huge financial and real estate podcast.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. They're huge, right? They are incredible. I've started listening to a buddy of mine sent it to me years ago, and they've grown like crazy since like 2017, 2018, where they've gone from local kind of real estate podcast talks to they got a couple of different peoples that are masters in their fields with real estate and finance and the housing market and stuff like that. And then they bring on these entrepreneurs. They've had like Mark Cuban on before, like things like that. Like they've grown it huge, right? They've been on these different huge things, and they just give cool content to talk about the markets, right? They have a whole podcast where we talk about the financial markets and stuff. So it's like if I can listen to those and pick up tidbits, might not directly apply, but it just makes me look at the world differently, or just know more about the world and what's going on in everything, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff. And then you got like motivation or like motivational podcasts and life podcasts. Like Ed Milet is a good one just for life, right? He brings on all these different people, and everyone you got on has it's a whole different podcast, right? It's just tell me about your life, what you do, what's your spirituality, how do you kind of go about everything. Then recently I started listening to a little bit of, I'll give you guys one more. Bedros Keuilian was cool. So he's actually the CEO, I think, of Fit Body Bootcamp.
Cool.
Okay.
Started that franchise. So for me, I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because it's more directly relatable. He was a personal trainer, I think, somewhere in California, trying to find his way, right? And now he's this multimillionaire entrepreneur that sold Fit Body Bootcamp, I'm pretty sure. And now he has a business podcast that I never did listen to, and I found out about it through his current podcast, which he's just putting out. More like motivational mindset, right? Live your life this way, how not to deal with or how to deal with and get out of your depression and this, that, the third, right? Just giving his personal accounts of things. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Picking up these little life mindsets or one-liners that are cool, that work for me. And I can even spread out there, because it translates directly to me and I understand it and I can apply it. You know, I think that's the biggest thing is no matter what you look for or what you're consuming, you should kind of blindly throw darts sometimes if you're starting in a realm, but you should start to develop some type of relatability, right? It's like if you don't even know what a mortgage is, why are you going to listen to a really, really specific refinance podcast? Right?
Yep.
You should at least have a developmental basis of something to get to the next thing, right? To go deeper down all those lanes. So that's kind of how I look at it, right?
And that seems like the philosophy of this gym too. It's like you put the people through these phases. It's kind of how you have developed your own life personally, but also put it into your business, which is kind of cool, which kind of brings it all together and intersects, right?
100%. Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I thought you were going to go there.
No, it's okay.
Joe.
I cut him off before.
Come on, Joe.
And I was going to let him
Who
go.
asked the last question?
I think I asked the last question.
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Take it
No, so
I'll take it after you.
Yeah, no,
I know where I wanna go.
I'm still trying to figure out where Eightwell's just had its 1 year anniversary.
Sure. Yep.
Where were you and Tyler before, and how did you guys meet and build this thing?
He's starting to get it.
Just a little bit.
That's where I was going.
Yeah. No. So I'm just trying to figure out how you guys conceptualized the idea. I mean, I figured out a lot about you just from what you listen to and how you do your own life, but how do you come together with Tyler? What were you doing before this? Give us the rundown.
Yeah, so Tyler is from Huntington, his whole life, Huntington Station. I'm from East Northport, right? We grew up totally separate. We weren't friends originally, still not friends. Partner,
business partner.
We're friends. I like him a lot.
We're gonna have him on when he doesn't have a 4-day-old baby to take care of.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So make sure yours is better.
Any shit that you talk, he'll be able to rebut later on.
Yeah. But I was training independently. I started out out of college. I was a kinesiology major, baseball player.
Where'd you go to college?
UMass, University of Massachusetts, Amherst. I was a math major actually for a year and a half.
Interesting.
Got past like Calc 3, did well, but then like couldn't get past computer science. Kind of was like, I'm not doing this. These aren't my things. Like I'm not.
That's
sitting
very
at a
funny.
desk. I'm not doing
I
this.
got right up to Calc 3 before I switched my whole life around.
That's why I'm better than you.
Yes. Well, we know this.
I knew it. Okay. All right. Good.
We know you're better than me, but now we have a reason why.
Good.
You got through Calc 3.
That's it.
I
think
got
it was like
right
a
up
B,
to
a B
it.
or a B plus too. I think.
Oh,
Decent.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So right through, I was always had a passion for working out. Was always as a kid watching like the Rocky movies growing up, things like that. I was a chubbier little kid trying to figure out what to do. Got kind of into a harder mindset through another trainer that I had like with the baseball team that I was playing with in high school. Early in high school, dropped weight, got into it, started running, doing stuff, eating healthier. But then college came, started really wanting to strength train. Got cut from the baseball team. They didn't get a lot of scholarships, so I tried to go to UMass D1 program. Not that great of a program. So I was like, cool, this could be a good chance. I was a left-handed pitcher to make the team. I was like literally the last cut both years, and I was like, all right, now what do I do? And then I kind of started really getting into the gym. Couple of buddies were like, you should switch to something else you're interested in health and lifting. I was going to the gym with them, switched to kinesiology, right? Kind of moved on past that and just took to consuming as much as I could and doing as much as I could in the gym 6-7 days a week, right? Like all different types of workouts, lifting, watching videos, motivational stuff, all this different stuff, like knowledgeable stuff around anything that I could consume outside of my schoolwork in college, right? So that was kind of where I got started to start forming the beast of that interest in that sense. And then I was like, all right, what do I do? I was going to be a physical therapist. I was like, I don't like clinical stuff. I didn't want to go that route, and I didn't want to go back to school again after I graduated. So I got an internship at a strength-based place with athletes and running adult like group strength training actually and stuff like that. Had some really, really cool experiences just working with everybody, all different types of people, little kids to old people to anything you could imagine, right? Just learning how to coach people, build programs, and help people that had different ailments, injuries, anything, right? Back pain, shoulder issues, this, that, the third. 2019, I kind of took all my stuff to Huntington. I was working at a nutrition shop, so I was developing personal training on the side of that in the village. Connected with, I don't know if you guys know Don Saladino. Phenomenal.
You've mentioned him to me.
Yeah, phenomenal celebrity trainer.
Him.
I connected with him in the nutrition shop, and he's been phenomenal. I mean, he lives right here in Cold Spring Harbor. He's known as the superhero trainer, like Ryan Reynolds, right, for all of his movies. Scarlett Johansson he's trained, Blake Lively, Wolverine. Hugh Jackman was the first guy I think that he did train in his gym in the city. But I connected with him, and he was great. You know, he referred me some of my first clients and still does to this day. Always checked in with him, gave me a lot of insight, you know, and then just developed my client base, learned how to kind of always look to build me as a brand and translate that right to starting to make money in my own everything, right? For training.
So that you were developing that through the nutrition shop you were working at and your personal brand at the same time?
Right, just learning how to talk to people, kind of targeting that fitness market, and also just developing, right, myself as a trainer, like figuring out how to keep track of my money, do all those things, right? So then in 2021, February, Tyler started training at the same spot in the village independently, right? We both were kind of just freelance trainers. I was doing in-homes, running training, and he came in, started doing it after he had actually quit his job during COVID to take on his passion with fitness. And we just started talking, connected, right? And that was it, really. We started hitting hikes, doing what?
Yeah, how long was that process of like you guys meeting to deciding to start Atewell?
So I think it was like February 2021, I think was when he started training in there. I'm pretty sure. Probably talked to him in the first couple of weeks, right? We're all kind of doing our own thing with our own clients in there, crossing paths, getting some workouts. And, hey, what are you doing? Why do you do this? Why do you do that, right? We started talking and then started working out together, going on some hikes, pushing each other a little bit, and just talking about like life and like what we're doing. What are you doing? Why'd you do this? What are you doing with this? Right? What do you see? What don't you see? And he was like, hey, let's grab coffee on Sunday. I was like, all right. It was like the first week of September, probably 2021. He was like, I'm going to go in on a gym. I want to open something. I'm looking for a spot right now. And would you want to do something? Like, would you want to do it? Like, he's like, I don't know what your plans are, but right, I feel like it'd be cool to do. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, let's do it 50-50. I'll take whatever I have. Let's put it in and let's find a spot and do it. So that was September of 2021. Signed a lease December 1st. Had it built out by the end of March or middle of March 2022.
Yeah, and now you're 1 year in.
That's it.
Right?
Now we're 1 year in. Yeah, so
Wow.
that was kind of the track of, really happened interestingly because it's so hard to just find random people, right? Especially, you never know what you're getting in the training industry.
Mm-hmm.
From his perspective walking in, right, from a corporate lifestyle into a free-for-all of, right?
Build a base. Build a customer base.
Build a customer base, kind of know what you're doing, find another guy that has a good head on his shoulders and has his mind in all those other realms and isn't just a trainer doing chest workouts with his clients, right? And yeah, that was it. We just kind of coincided on our life kind of journey and values and stuff.
So from that
you do.
September conversation to December 1st and finding that spot, what were those conversations like? Was it developing the 8 Well brand?
Yeah, so probably the longest, stupidest process was sitting in Southdown Coffee a couple of days for a couple of hours and just like, what do we name this place? Because I told him, I was like, listen, I've run group training. I was like, I know what the program would be tomorrow if we opened. And that was like the week after we agreed to go in. And I was like, the place would be good. I was like, it's up already. Like, I know what I would do. He's like, all right. I was like, cool, let's do it. What do we want to call it? What do we want to do beyond this place now? Right? So we kind of already had the idea of building the gym, getting this whole kind of model fixed out. How do we build it to be something that's either scalable or sellable? Both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Franchisable, maybe. We don't know, right? We kind of weren't sure of the definite direction. We knew it wanted to be wellness focused because there should be a balance. We're not just trying to crank people out and kill them during workouts. There's much more to life than that, right? We want to share everything with people the way that we live our lives, and let them know that they're living their lives in an okay way and they could change a couple of things and still live the life they want and be there. And then, right, how do we take our clientele, maximize it, grow it, and deploy a coach, right, and kind of have a head manager coach eventually, managing a space, doing the thing, and then we kind of are building our brand beyond that as a company and a brand that like tells a story and has all these different pockets to it. So it kind of came full circle with that, right?
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff.
Yeah.
If Tyler had never asked you to get coffee that day, do you think you would have wound up starting a gym eventually? Was it on your radar, or was it just like...
It was on my radar, but it was kind of like there was some fear. So I'm a little bit of a hesitant person with certain things, right? Trying to assess risk.
Okay.
And then, right, entrepreneurial mindset, but like, where do I actually go? How do I actually go about this? He had a little bit more corporate commercial experience, right? Knowledge on that end. So it was cool to have that side where he was kind of like, oh, I've done a lease before. I've done these things. I kind of know how this all works. I was like, cool, because I really don't, but it's cool for me to learn, right? But for me, I think it would have eventually maybe, I think I would have trained and continued building a book and doing my thing and maybe looking to open something one day, just because it could have been something that took me out of the rigorous, like, daily hour-to-hour training. But it wasn't anything that was specifically fixed.
You weren't actively searching for it?
Yeah, I wasn't actively searching. I knew there was more to what I was going to do. I was kind of mindset of like, well, let me learn how to put my money, invest it, and put it into assets and gain real estate off of it and do things like that so that I can create a life of freedom after that with the money I make training rather than, but now, right, this is an asset. So it's like, how do we build this? But then I still want to do that stuff, right, for myself and use the education and apply it to my real life. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know, but it's interesting. I've thought about that.
Opportunities would have come your way anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But this was just
like,
the one. It just worked out that way.
And training was great, right? I think also part of it was the COVID fear. Because I had great weeks. I had great weeks in 2021 of training. I was like, wow, if this week is what I did every week, I'm making great money. This is awesome, right? Doing 30, 32, 35 sessions, training in homes, doing this, doing that. And then I'm like, oh, 3 people have COVID. 2 people just went on vacation because things are opening up again in the world. And right when people were getting COVID, even in 2020, 2021, they were out for 14 days.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, the revenue just went out the door, right?
Right.
And then it's like, how do I fix this problem, right? How do I create a model that's recurring, makes revenue, does stuff? And then that's what we talked about with the gym and everything. Stupid friend.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hate friends.
Yeah, they suck. This is Jesse, actually.
Shut up, Jesse.
Idiot.
So this 1 year anniversary that just passed.
Yep.
How much, now that you look back on it, how much did you learn in that 1 year compared to everything in the personal training years?
So I think you take college, and people go to college to learn. I've learned 99.9% more in the personal training years than college, and I've probably learned 100 times that again in just this past year that I've learned from like that 2017 to 2022 year span.
Yeah.
I can't even
put
put a number on it.
Yeah.
Just a lot of intangible different things of like,
Yeah.
right? Being a sponge and absorbing all these things, it's like, cool. Right? My brother is looking to start something eventually, right? And we've talked a bunch about that. And he's a couple years younger than me, trying to find a job out of college and stuff. And now I'm like, oh, be ready to think this way and know this thing and be conscious of this and leverage credit this way. And some of the things that mom, dad, and other people have told you is like, if you're starting something and doing this, it's not going to apply, right? From like the mentality and the fear of it and the risk of it, right? Those are the intangibles, I think.
Right.
Those are the biggest things, because you go to bed every night with like, oh, we're somewhat whatever, $200,000 in of something, and what if no one opens the door to come train, right? And then it's like, oh, right, once you get past that, I've learned how to kind of move myself mentally that way, I think. Now that we're in the clear, it feels great, right? Because the fear is always going to be there regardless. You can let that get you, or you can keep pushing it aside and know that all you got to do is keep working and be you and be a great person, and kind of things will start to happen and fall into place. So those are the intangibles of what I've learned. I think I've learned so much more about different ways to train and treat people and do things in a group model, right? The specifics of the actual business is something that's just going to happen because of it's been 12 months of just work and being there for so long, managing people, right? Doing things certain ways, maybe things that I thought were one way are now different ways, right? Just everything, I think. I don't have anything specific to say.
No,
it's just so much.
No, I know.
I mean, it's like,
I feel the same way with my business, and it's like, if saltwater were to close tomorrow, I would be so well-rounded enough that I could probably jump into 10 different avenues and still be okay. But it's worth the risk and the investment of my personal time and whatever it might be to give this thing a really good shot and to see what the end of the rainbow might look like. Maybe a pot of gold, or it might just be another rainbow to the next pot. You know? So I think that's what's really cool about owning your own place and like putting it all on the line is that you end up saying, shit, the juice is worth the squeeze with this. You know, like I'm learning so much. And my dad tells me all the time, he's like, step back for a second and look where we've come from. Like, you know, you just, kind of your mind starts to like go, oh shit, you know, my friends don't even know half the crap that I do. You know, that's the hardest part is
relating to that.
Your family doesn't. I mean, your family does because it's a family business, but
it's
like
different.
Our family doesn't even understand.
Like Steve, you just shoot videos, you just lift weights, I sell t-shirts. No, there's 99% of that is not true.
There's different realms and levels of everything versus getting out of your comfort zone. Cool, that's broken. But then like, what are actually the specific things you got to do now? Because there's bills on your ass. There's all these different things going. It's you. You can make it what you want it to be, right?
Well, that was going to be my question to you next. Is like, what's the thing that motivates you to keep going? Because I know what it is for me, but I'm always interested in what it is for other people.
It's a good question, Steve.
Thank you.
I don't even know if I have the answer.
The thing.
Or a number of things. You know, what are some things the thing that motivates you the most to like, you know, you've reached this point of if your business didn't grow another bit, you'd be okay. Like that's how I feel currently. Is like I would, if my business never grew from this point on, I'd be fine. I'd live a fine life.
Yeah. I think the thing now that motivates me is simply just being there 12 hours a day of like, okay, let's get to the step where there is some freedom of life for me to get there and push and do other things and work in different ways. And then there's the other side of I want to get up every day to dig deeper into myself to see what else there is that I can do. from being a really shy kid when I was younger to like, right, owning a company, yeah, but like it's a social thing. It's a thing that's a beast that's living, right?
Yeah.
And like, how do I grow that and keep growing that, right? And obviously getting after the hustle because I want my girlfriend and I to get married and have a family and have kids and show them what it is and be able to do recorded. That stuff.
Send it to her.
Cut that.
Take that out. Take that out. No. Victoria.
No. Don't do it here. No. Yeah. Horrible idea.
Yeah. Terrible. But yeah, right. So it's knowing that motivation of like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She's a hardworking nurse. She's worked her ass off too. It's like we chose to be together. We're here. She's choosing to be with me. We go through struggles like everybody does. But like let's put this. Let's eventually put all that BS to rest and show everything that we've done, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be a lot of work, but she's nursing. I don't want her to work nursing for more than 5 to 10 years, right? That's such a harsh job, and I understand that, right? And it's like, all right, let's keep going, right? Obviously, Tyler, I got another 50% half of this, right? He's got a family. I think part of it for me is like, cool. The accountability of having a partner is like, let me just do this, right? Let me show, right? I was a trainer also. People probably thought I was just a trainer, just working. I just like to work out. I just had a passion to work out. Let me, right, in the best way possible, let me just show them that I can do this and affect people much more than that and build that, right?
Yeah.
So
you said two things that I want to touch on.
Go.
The first being your relationship.
Yep. I'm not talking
and
about that.
the fact that you just said, well, we chose to be together.
Yeah.
I love that because I subscribe to the same type of, like, Holly has this romantic view of things where she's like, are we meant to be? Like, are we meant to be together? I was like, no.
Yeah.
I choose to be with you all, like that every single day. We choose to be together.
Of course.
And like that to me is more romantic than just being like, oh, it's fate. We should be together.
It's dreamy. You're driven by different things. There's different love languages.
Yeah, we just went to Israel for a wedding. Our friend got married. It's like they fucking chose. She chose to leave New Jersey, where she grew up and lived her entire life, to live in Tel Aviv.
It's crazy.
Like that's a choice. That's not like fate
What's
made us all happen. Like we love.
Yeah.
And I forget what the second thing was because I just went on that
Tyler,
tangent.
was it anything with the partner thing or no?
Accountability.
Okay.
So for me, it was very similar. Like the reason that I keep going every single day is like, yes, I want to have that financial freedom. I want to have the life. But the reason where like I don't just stay in bed some days when I want to is because like I've got to, like you said, Tyler has a family, like Eric has a family, Sal has a family, Matt has a family. Like the people that I work with, it's not like we're affecting their brands and their livelihood. To me, like I need that kind of accountability from other people. I have Joe sitting here because it's holding me accountable to doing this podcast. Like that's the type of person that I am. I need that.
Totally.
Like, you know, if I don't do this, it's gonna fuck up Joe's day.
That's also, I think,
I'd be sad.
This is a little off topic, but that's also a huge part of it. Is me being a shy kid. Not wanting, I'm pretty introverted. Like I'm very funny and comedic and outgoing and sarcastic when I'm comfortable and when I'm doing stuff right. And I've learned to be that way. Just being me, right? Associating with people, making people feel warm and welcome. But there's the side that is like, all right, do I really want to do stuff today? Do I want to move right? I need that accountability too. I love that accountability. I'm grateful for having that, right? And pushing myself and pushing my own envelope to learn who I am and how I function. Right? Because you can always push past those little boundaries within yourself, but know that like you got to figure out how you function and then use that to your advantage, right? Instead of being paralyzed by being a certain way or anxious or anything like that, right? To like build the life that you want, right? Keep digging deeper and knowing that you can like actually control what you're doing, put the pieces in place, right? And hopefully it all falls into line, right? Like that will make you function your best way every day. You're getting up now for these things, right? If you don't get up for yourself, how can you play that kind of trick on yourself to get up for these other things every day? And it just makes everything else around you and you better.
Where I wanted to go with wrapping this up is we talked about, you know, what you've done in the past, how you've gotten to this point, your relationship, how you started 8 Well. Now I want to ask you, what is the future of 8 Well? What's next? Like, what's the goal?
So the future of 8 Well, right, is in the most general sense, how can we create as much value as possible and affect lives, right? Like living, breathing lives that have all these different ups and downs and struggles and pockets that need a balance. So I think that we have so many ideas. I've talked about this probably 3 different times just this week alone with any other people that have come into the gym, right? Every week it's almost 5, 3, 8, 10 times, right? And sometimes it'll always change and evolve, I'm sure, as we go, right? The picture, what we hit, right? But the goal right now, immediate, is get the membership up, get the gym cranking even more, right? And just get that 100% solidified. I think in the bigger sphere of everything with affecting other people's lives, grow it in the sense of make it a wellness company, to be able to create value, right? Whether it's a consultation company, we have one end where we're trying to take the actual concrete model of the gym and the brick and mortar and teach people or consult or sell that model to say, here's how you could do this, right? We have a full 18 phases from the first year of programming, like the workout program specifically, that work in our gym in the model with the free weights that we have. We sell, right, the subscription to that. That's cool. But like to sell that as value and consult, I have a kind of a whole blueprint drawn up explaining the model a little bit that we could kind of draw out and influence other trainers and people who want to open a gym that's strength-based and kind of show what we've done in the first year and kind of continue, right? There's probably more that needs to be done to prove it. That's in the very kind of small scope sense of just the gym sense. I think bigger is, right, further the podcast, grow our brand, get way more content out there, way more influence over people's lives, and kind of as much information as possible, right, from any other brand or person that we can work with that's, in the wellness field, but also just an entrepreneur of a brand, something like that, right, that goes through struggles, puts themselves on the line, has to keep a balance in life. How do they do it? Why do they do it? What do they do best? What do they not do best, right? And showcase that for people. And if someone does have a company, I think it would be cool to try to build some type of consultation basis or something that creates value where we can start to build that community that can almost pull from the people we host or work with and brands that we work with, right? The most powerful thing is pairing with other companies and brands, right? And collabing and doing stuff like that. But then what's the actual concrete driver of that and the value that that's going to provide rather than a cool story? And like, right, using our dietitian, our in-house registered dietitian, right? You can consult with her through us. Then it's like, okay, we had Mike on our podcast, the Kinetic Chiro. Cool. We're going to hold a seminar coming up with him. We're going to try to kind of build, right, that out for him for that seminar, get information out there. Hopefully it creates more value for people in that realm. He's able to kind of sell his product and talk about what he does and create value, right? Then if we have whatever, you name it, right? A businessman, person who does only online coaching, a person who does finance and is a financial advisor, right? I think the goal is that we've thought about building a portal or something out that gives access to these people that is actually a product that these people have created, right? Check out episode 43 with so-and-so who's a financial advisor. Here's a free chart for you to plan, like a financial planner, right? For you to put all your expenses in, blah, 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 blah. Here's how to go about it. Here's a couple tips and tricks. Cool. If you want to work with him, you can consult. This is his rate. This is what he's available on. This is how it's done, right? It would be cool to build out something that's an all-around kind of
creating like a network
kind of beast, a spider web of all these things. That's basically an essential company for the essentials of things that are people are dealing with in life.
That's a cool concept. Like it's pre-vetted out too.
Yeah. Right. So there's a lot, right? There's a lot that we have that could potentially work eventually. Right. So
that's exciting.
There's a bunch.
We'll get you to that next level of membership where you get to that point.
Let's go.
And then I guess if people are watching and they want to do a little more research or get in touch with you, how can they find you and work with you?
So 8welllife.com. Website's okay. Decent. Doesn't tell the story because most of the stuff is really on social media. 8well.life on Instagram. We have a Twitter, but it's mainly recycled kind of posts on Instagram. We got to post more on there. I think it's 8welllife on Twitter, or 8well_life. Facebook, we have our 8well page, right? But you can email us, team@8welllife.com. Check us out, right? My personal is @TJ Arella. Tyler's is @Tyler Brown, I think, without the O. I think. right?
Yeah,
he'll
lots
be
of
on,
abs
He'll be on
pictures
coming
on
out.
there.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah.
Like his pics.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Joe really loves.
Don't make it
It's
weird.
a good follow.
I saw them. He was looking at Tyler's picture on the
Yeah,
phone
before.
when I walked in. That's weird.
It's just he's
Oh.
research, claiming it as research.
Mm.
And because he came on the podcast, he does get a gift. Everybody that comes on
what
our
do I get?
podcast does get a gift.
What do I get?
More saltwater clothing.
All right. Oh,
everybody
yeah.
That, everybody that comes to the pod gets a
Got
little saltwater
little
hat. Little saltwater
Cool.
hat.
Shell.
Give that to
Fantastic.
Victoria if you want.
Nice.
Sup, Victoria?
All right. Nice wrap
So-
job. The sticker. Don't want to rip. These are hefty stickers, by the way.
Then
They don't
we're
really
quality.
rip. Yeah.
Quality.
Cool. It's good. Good sticker.
They're from Peru as well.
What
I
else
just
is from
made that
Peru?
up.
The
Everything.
clothing.
What? Oh, you're like they're from Peru as well. I don't know what else.
Got him the fishing pole shirt because, you know.
Nice.
Got him an extra small, too.
All right. Oh, perfect. Back's cool. Oh, that's cool.
There you go.
Nice.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah, he's not
Appreciate
Tyler.
it.
Tyler
Appreciate
would
you
wear a
guys.
small.
Yeah.
Here, we got your
He needs
medium. We got you
He
the
wants
medium.
it.
He just really
Cool.
wants to pop.
Appreciate
Well,
you.
Thanks
thank
for
you,
coming
man.
on.
This is
That was
awesome.
awesome.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
Do it again. Peace.
Now you
Cool.
can cut it. I'll allow it.